So Reconnect with Rockers today. I'm so psyched. I'm calling her my girl is here, even though we're just connecting for the first time. We're not actually reconnecting. But Taylor Momsen from the Pretty Reckless is here. And man, I cannot even tell you, a week that we've been playing Death by Rock and Roll, #1 most requested tune on WDHA.
I don't even know what to say to that. That's insane.
Hello.
Hey, thank you. This is crazy. I mean, I've been saying it's insane it's always crazy to release music at any time because you never know how it's going to be received. Yeah. But especially to release songs and music during the most unprecedented time in my life is terrifying. And the reception has been so overwhelmingly positive and amazing that I am so thankful. Like, I don't even know what to say to you guys. Thank you so much for the support.
Because people love it. It's what they want. It's what they need. Music is a healer. I want to start though, just by asking you, you've always been such a charismatic person. You're amazing on stage. You knew probably you could sing at a young age. When did you know that you were a songwriter? Because being a songwriter is very different than being a performer and being in a band. When did you know you could write songs that people would love, that people really liked?
Honestly, I think songwriting in a lot of ways came first. It wasn't, playing on a stage in front of a lot of people and singing. I loved all that. And at the time, the concept of playing live and all that, I'd never done that before, but really the songwriting is what drew me to music. It was the internalization of it. It was my mechanism of how I thought. So it started as just self-expression, and I would turn whatever I was writing into songs. And then as I realized I could express myself that way, I then started to take it very seriously. And that became, I take songwriting very seriously. And then that translated into, it's all combined, it's all one. So, but I think songs were actually the thing that really made me fall in love with music. I loved singing and stuff, but it was the writing of the song and really expressing myself that way that made it this undying love of something that I need to do to feel like me.
Yeah. Yeah. And and you write hit songs. Radio songs, and
that I have no idea.
I know.
I have nothing to do with that. I don't know where, because that's so not the intention behind writing, or like, it's not even so far past not the intention. It doesn't even cross my mind.
But you know what I've said to people too? Authenticity is not something that goes over people's heads. I've worked at WDHA a long time. I know the listeners, when they love stuff, they tell you they love it. When they don't. And I've seen things that, just can kind of cruise right past them. They're into the authenticity. They know a song. They know where it comes from. You feel it. They feel it. And I think that kind of, translates on. My first experience seeing you, aside from playing on the radio, when I saw you, I just looked up at the band and I said, I had no idea that the band was going to be that great. And I was like, holy crap, her band, because you're a powerful figure. And sometimes when there's a woman who's a figurehead and the front person of a band, that person takes, center stage. Mm-hmm. But then you see the band and you cannot take your eyes off the band. What an amazing band that you have. And it's a band. It's a band.
And meeting them, I got real lucky in the beginning of all this. We've been together now for, it's like 12 years now or something. It's crazy. But the fact that it's difficult, I started kind of a singer-songwriter, meeting lots of people, trying to kind of navigate my way, knowing I wanted to make music, but not only that, knowing I really wanted to be in a band. I really wanted to be a part of a group. Like, I wanted to be the Beatles. I didn't want to be Elvis. Like, who wants to do this alone? And, finding, and not just hired musicians and whatever, that wasn't for me. And it was really kismet and lucky, to find musical partners like that just so immediately we clicked. And it was like, well, what, where did this come from? And it started with, I met Ben and Cato, and Ben was in a band with Mark and Jamie at the time. And I heard their band and I loved, and the three of us immediately hit it off. And then I met Mark and Jamie later and went, okay, you know what? I'm just going to be the singer of your band, and I'm going to write the songs, and we're going to call it something else. We good with that? And hence the Pretty Reckless was formed. And so
I want to talk about Cato. The last 3 years for you have been just unimaginable. You know, losing Chris Cornell, being on tour with Soundgarden at the time, having him be a musical mentor for you. And then Kato, who you heard Taylor mention, is Kato Kandawala, who was an amazing producer. But when people say like, oh, he produced The Pretty Reckless, and he was so much more than that for you. He was a musical brother. He saw the vision. I mean, from what I can see, saw the vision of what this band could be with you. And then to lose him so tragically in a motorcycle accident had to be for you. How do you emerge from that and say, you know what, I'm still going to come back and make great music? He was such a part of that with you.
He really was. I mean, and not even just in music, in my life. I mean, he was my best friend on the planet. And so, I mean, to not get super heavy, because it's very heavy. I mean, I'm going to do a very quick recap of what happened here. So after Chris passed, we were on that tour. That hit me extraordinarily hard. I canceled touring. I wasn't in a place to be public. I needed some time to process what had happened. Went home, started writing a little bit, talking to Kato. We were actually talking about going into the studio and start working on the fourth record. And then boom, I got the call about Kato. And that really I spiraled downward very quickly. Like Kato passing was kind of a nail in the coffin for me. And I went very, very down very quickly into depression and this kind of dark hole that I didn't know how to get out of, and I didn't know if I ever was going to get out of it. Like I kind of was looking at life from a point of view of what's the fucking point? Like who cares? Like everything I love is dead. Like what's the point? And eventually and to make a long story short, it took a lot of work, but it took music. Music was the thing that came back around and saved my life again. It was my salvation for the billionth time in my life. I had nothing and I was left with nothing. And so I turned to music, and by doing so I started to write again, and things just started to pour out. And then that is what then turned into this album. So basically I'm getting a little choked up over my own words here, but basically that was the kind of a huge part of the healing process, was making this record and writing this record. Well, first writing the record and then trying to make it. It was the first album we ever did without Kato, which is also, we did it with a guy named Jonathan Wyman, who is a great friend, was a lifesaver, because really let us fall apart and be who we were at that moment in time, because we weren't in the best place. And really allowed for us to be who we needed to be at that moment in time, and help guide us through that. And it became the first album that Ben and I actually co-produced with John. And so we really poured ourselves into this record. And then that way I keep saying that it feels like the first album all over again. In the sense that
I would imagine, how can it not? I read a quote from Ben where he said something like, this record is Taylor gives it's her whole self, it's her whole being. And you can really hear it. You can hear it in that first single, and you can hear and really feel Kato. You can still feel his presence in the music, which I think is, which is so telling. His legacy certainly lives on.
I'm not letting his memory die. There's no way. And that's kind of the point of Death by Rock and Roll, is that like, we bonded over the fact that all of us, the band, Kato, me, we all live our life with this ethic of rock and roll, in the sense that rock and roll is freedom. So it's rock and roll is a mentality, it's a lifestyle, it's an energy, it's obviously the music, it's infused into you as a part of your soul. And if you live by that ethic, it's live life your own way, go out your own way, don't let anyone tell you different. Life by rock and roll, death by rock and roll till I die. And that's the message of the first song. And Death by Rock and Roll.
People want to hear that now. They love that feel, that anthemic beat of their life. By the way, you have some special guests.
Battle cry.
Battle cry. Some special guests on the record too. Oh, and the version that you did of Halfway There with Matt Cameron was so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and I love that you chose that song, because when I watched it again, I literally immediately went on the air and played that song because I said, you know what? I kind of forgot about this song. And what an awesome tune that was, you know, and Chris's voice on that song. And you just did it such justice. We had it up on our website and just absolutely brilliant. And Matt's on this record, right? Matt Cameron?
He is, yeah. We connected. It's not just Matt; it's actually Kim Thale as well.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yes, so Matt and Kim are on a song called "Only Love Can Save Me Now," which I'm very excited for people to hear. We recorded that in Seattle at London Bridge Studios, which was very awesome. I don't want to give too much away about the song, but it's pretty epic.
Can't wait for that. Can't wait.
Definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah, awesome. And does it freak you out that it's been now 10 years since the first record? August is going to be 10 years. And I'm just like, years. What?
It's in one, I don't know how to, it's strange. Time's such a weird thing because in one way it feels like way longer than 10
25 years in one
like 50 years, 100 years ago. And in the other sense, it feels like it was yesterday. So it's, I don't know, time's a weird thing like that.
It is. It definitely is. And, you know, I just wanted to say too, you know, I think you are somebody who has had to work even harder than other people. You had to forge your way ×3. And we talked a little bit, you know, before we started, you know, and I never like to talk, when I talk with women in rock and roll, I never like to talk about, oh, what is it like to be, you know, it's the same as being a guy, except I'm sorry, but you just have to push a little harder. You have to push a little harder. Sometimes you're pushing to radio and people go, oh, we're already playing Lizzie and we already have Stitched Apart and we already have, you know, New Year's Day, you know, so, but maybe we'll find space for you. You know, we don't do that. The listeners tell us what they want to hear and they want to hear Pretty Reckless music.
Oh, well, that's awesome.
But you know, have had to work even harder to gain that recognition. And boy, to see you, you know, on the road, whether it was Soundgarden or festivals or Guns N' Roses, and, you know, the crowd's just going so crazy for the band. You know, I feel so excited for you guys because, you know, I know what that struggle can be like, and you just you've hauled ass, man, and got it done with talent, credibility, and hard work.
Well, thank you. You're making me blush. No, I mean,
I think it needs to be said, you know, because you got a lot of questions in the beginning, like, then what was it like to transition? It's like, oh my God, you know, I want people to recognize your contribution to music too. And the fact that it's tougher for women, and it's especially tougher when you got to dispel all these myths that you should be in the rock world, you know?
Well, thank you for understanding. I really appreciate it. Cause yeah, but I think it's a struggle. It's a struggle for any band. You know, I obviously came from a background of a lot of preconceived notions and stuff that, you know, that took a while to go away, but what are you going to do?
Yeah.
What are you going to do? I'm going to write songs. I play music because I love to play music. I write songs because I love to write songs. I would be doing this anyway. The fact that I can call it my job is just, you know, that's just fortunate.
And we're so happy
I'm just blessed to be here. You know, that's how I try to look at it.
So what has Lockdown Rockdown been like for you? I mean, it's crazy.
Rockdown. I like it.
Rockdown.
That phrase, I like it.
What has that been like for you? What have you been, you know, it's when I heard that you were doing these, I was like, oh man, awesome. I cannot wait to connect with her. You know, we want to make sure that our listeners know what's going on in the lives of our artists, and they've loved this feature so much to be able to just reconnect with people. So what have you been doing? Is it more of a time of creativity or reflectivity?
Probably, I don't know. Quarantine's a bit strange for me in the sense that I kind of self-quarantined for the past like 3 years.
Yeah.
So I was really, you know, when we finished the album and right before quarantine started, I was in New York filming, shooting the single cover and the album cover and luckily we got that in time, like literally 2 days before quarantine started. But so for me, I was really ready to get back out into the world because I had been quarantined for so long, by choice. So obviously that's been put on pause. So now my quarantine, it's just extended. So I'm kind of used to it in one way. It's a bit odd having to switch modes from I'm at home to now I'm promoting or you know, talking to you and trying to do it from home and get in that mindset. I'm certain, but it's good. I mean, I can't complain. I can't, you know, I'm healthy and I'm safe, and that's, you know, at the end of the day, that's all that matters. So I've really just been like I've been playing a lot of guitar. That's what I've been doing.
Yes. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, something good is going to come out of this, because when you get back out on the road, you are going to be an axe queen. Oh, I love that. Oh, this is good.
Playing tons of guitar. I got nothing else. I feel like I've worn out the television.
Fantastic.
So it's just, I'm playing guitar. I try to work out. Motivation's dwindling, but trying to do that. And then talking about Death by Rock and Roll. That's woo woo.
Can't wait. So are we getting it in the summer, Taylor? Is it a summer release?
I don't know.
Okay, we don't know yet. Okay.
I don't know yet. Everything's still a little bit up in the air because of all this craziness.
Gotcha. Something super to look forward to for WDHA listeners and fans. And I can't wait to see your beautiful face and hear you play guitar when you're back out on the road. We were bummed we didn't get the New York show. Hopefully we'll get that postponed to a later date. And we will definitely see you. But congratulations on just a dynamite single. I can't wait to hear the whole record. And I'm so glad that you emerged from such a tough time, on the other side, because we need artists like you, and we need these great ladies making new music. So thank you. It has been such a pleasure to hang out with you too. I feel like
thank you so much.
I've known you forever.
I know, I do too. This was super easy and super fun. And thank you so much for the support. And I gotta say, it feels good to be back. It really, I know we haven't left my house, so maybe I don't know how back we are, but we're back.
We're back to something great.
Back to something.
Thank you so much for being on Reconnect with Rockers.
Thank you so much.
DHA's Reconnect with Rockers is powered by Advantage Contracting and by Karis Lock Company.